Week one of ACC football is in the books. We are here to recap that and get you prepared for week two. Let's go. Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Carolina Dad Show. Man, I tell you what, I hope and pray that you are not on YouTube at about 11 o'clock on Monday night as we watched Bill Belichick and the University of North Carolina get absolutely steamrolled on national TV. You guys can't see it, but there is a North Carolina logo above me in the corner. And man, makes you just want to rip that off the wall. But are we sure we didn't see this coming to a certain extent? I think there was a good portion of folks that said, hey, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think that Bill Belichick's going to be able to make this thing happen at the University of North Carolina. They're putting all this money in there. Oh boy, it's going to be a long season. You do have the chance to rebound now against Charlotte. I mean, you do, believe it or not, have a chance to start 3-1, but we get back into ACC play, and you're talking about a team that may be a 4 to 5 win team. It's early, so I'm not going to get too concerned, but I am very concerned, at least in the moment, just thinking about the state of this team. And it's an experiment. If this experiment does not work out, and I could spend the whole episode talking about North Carolina and their performance, I don't want to do that because we're talking about the entire ACC. I want to make sure I cover everyone like we should, cover all the highlights and stories, but just thinking about that goose egg. Opening drive, you score, that place is booming. Like, honestly, like we've never seen. And then by the third quarter, the game's over. Fans are leaving. It's pretty much the norm that we've become accustomed to with Chapel Hill in football. You had the national stage. You had all the bells and whistles, everyone in attendance, ESPN rolling out the red carpet, and you just couldn't perform. Now, we understand this is not a good team when it comes to the players and personnel, but you, as a fan, and me, as someone that analyzes this stuff, you think Bill Belichick at least has to be good for a win or two. He should be able to elevate what he has. He was standing off to the side almost the entire game, not engaged with the team at all. Like, that stuff, sure, you can do that in the NFL when you're working with grown men, but these are young kids. Yes, they are technically men, but they're young kids that needs a motivator, someone that's involved in the huddle, involved with things going up, talking to players, not standing 40 yards off to the side away from the huddle. It's a lot of concerns. You look at the performance by the defense, the missed tackles, the things that just didn't pan out, and now I think you question everything. And are you going to be able to get it right? Is it already too late? Because you have a good recruiting class that's coming in next year. You are in the top 20-ish, so that's good. But are you going to scare people away? Because they're going to get to see the real side of North Carolina if things go off the rails. And this one-year trial, which is really what it is, trial run, could be over before it gets started. And the school itself could decide to pull the money out, focus it on basketball, and just move on and be okay with being okay at 6 wins, 7 wins, 5 wins, where we sit today. I'm not going to go too much further talking through North Carolina, like I said, because I could spend the entire episode doing that. But we are going to jump in and take a look, recapping week one. There were some other storylines, believe it or not, that were not the University of North Carolina. This actually goes back into week 0, so it pulls in the Hawaii and Stanford game. You know, if you look at the ACC right now, based off of that performance that we saw, and maybe TCU is a good team, but I think you have to push North Carolina down. Those, like, in the realm of Stanford, bad, who lost to Hawaii by 3 points. We recapped ECU, NC State, as well as Duke and Elon. So NC State got out to a nice lead. ECU battled back. It came down to a 4th down play at the end of the game. NC State was able to get the stop. Duke started very slow. You're talking about being tied up with FCS Elon, able to pull away in the second half. And Darion Mensah looked the part, hands down. We moved into our Friday matchups. ACC kept rolling. Now, Wake Forest over Kennesaw State, 10-9. I don't know what to say about that, but shout out to Robbie Ashford, former quarterback for University of South Carolina, who is the starting quarterback for Wake. On the side of Colorado and Georgia Tech, a nice win for Georgia Tech. It wasn't pretty, but Haynes King, 156 yards rushing. He was the difference maker. Georgia Tech was able to pull it out. Again, I think that was a nice win. We move into the Saturday slate, and sorry for all the Clemson fans out there. It just wasn't it. And I feel like you're going to come out of this with more questions. Number 4 team in the country, home atmosphere was off the charts by all things that we saw on TV. They just couldn't pull it out. And they had some opportunities, but I got to tell you, if you are relying on Cade Klubnik to be the future to lead you, and I say future, but like for this season, to be your guy, I don't know if that's it. Like that performance we saw from him was terrible in comparison to Garrett Nussmeier, who I think Nussmeier is going to come out as a Heisman favorite or Heisman candidate, probably one of the best quarterback prospects that will be heading into the NFL. But you win 17-10, then you come out of that with Dabo Swinney talking about grading and how he graded this game and both teams really didn't do that well. And then you have the shot back from Brian Kelly, who responded saying that I don't know what he saw in the second half. Maybe he just turned it off. So you have a little bit of fire there. Remember, both of these teams play again next year. It's going to be at LSU. So there you have it. Clemson, though, I mean, all things considered, LSU, one of the better teams in the country. We're going to have our SEC preview maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday. But LSU, one of the best teams in the country. I believe it. I wasn't bought in, but I do think hey, maybe they're going to turn a corner. We'll see. Still early. Clemson, they'll be okay just because they're in the ACC. So naturally, they're going to find their footing, and they should be in Charlotte when all things are said and done competing. Now, bit of a surprise here. Alabama, I think Alabama's overrated, and they have been overrated. Kalen DeBoer, just that whole situation, not great. But Florida State taking care of business, winning 31-17. Tommy Castellanos backing up what he said in the offseason about Nick Saban not being there, not being scared of Alabama. Good for them. Good win for Florida State. It's good to have Florida State back. It's good to have Miami back. It's 1 week, so I don't think we're going to proclaim these teams back. But as an ACC fan, you're like, okay, it's good to see these teams being competitive. SMU, what are you doing? I kid, but FCS, East Texas A&M, I think they just threw up a university to play out of nowhere. I kid, but SMU did what they had to do. 42-13. Syracuse, I expected Tennessee, Joey Aguilar from former App State to run the table. They did. They took care of business 45-26. Pitt, 61-9 over Ducini. I can't say that. Sorry, I should just look it up how to pronounce it. Anyways, they did fine. Boston College, 66. Fordham, 10. Louisville, 51. Eastern Kentucky, 17. These games were easy. Was a little bit impressed, and we got a big matchup this week, but impressed with Virginia taking over Coastal Carolina 48-7. That's power 4 versus a group of 5, but Coastal Carolina is not a cakewalk. Maybe the most surprise outside of Florida State, Cal taking over Oregon State, winning 34-15. I originally thought, this may be an easier win for Carolina. I don't know that I can say that now, but really good performance on their side. Malik Murphy, former Duke quarterback, playing for Oregon State, threw for 244 yards. Man, all this shuffling around is insane. And how about Miami, Carson Beck figuring things out, pulling it out, 27-24 over Notre Dame. Great atmosphere there as well. I mean, I wish that they had a place to play on campus for the University of Miami. But, all things considered, it was rocking. And again, is Notre Dame worthy of a sixth ranking, top 10 ranking? Maybe not. But I think that was a good performance and what Miami needed to do coming into this year. Really gutsy defensive and special teams type performance for South Carolina over Virginia Tech. We already broke that down. Kyron Jones did lead in passing with 221 yards. I think Virginia Tech's going to make some noise, but again, I don't think they're competing. If we're talking about who's going to compete for the ACC right now, you throw in Florida State, Clemson, Miami, Pitt. Now, Pitt's got to be in the mix, Louisville as well, and of course, Miami. We already talked about North Carolina and TCU and what an absolutely terrible performance that was. We'll go ahead and take a look at week 2. Some of the matchups here, quite a few on Friday with James Madison taking on Louisville. Actually, guys, which that is one of the games, but I've got to get the filters in, so sorry about that. For those that are watching along with us, here we go. Cleaner version. Louisville taking on James Madison. Louisville is a 13.5-point favorite. I think they'll be fine. Look for them to easily win that game. Really nice matchup in Durham this weekend with number 11 Illinois traveling in. I look forward to seeing what that game looks like. I don't know that Duke can pull it out. I think Illinois is too good, but Duke's a good team. Manny Diaz knows what he's doing coaching-wise, so we'll see. 12 o'clock kickoff, that'll be nice. I guess East Texas A&M is making their ACC roundup stop as they then travel to Florida State, get that money. I mean, Florida State take care of business there. Kind of a sneaky matchup here between SMU and Baylor. Again, SMU, I think by nature of where they finished last year and their schedule, people are going to possibly just give them a chance at, having a shot at the ACC. I don't know if they're a playoff team again this year, but I do think they're a team that can probably win 9 games. I don't know. I have it a toss-up between SMU and Baylor. I have not looked at the spreads or odds or anything. We have a non-conference ACC matchup between NC State and Virginia. That's just the nature of what you get with all these scheduling conflicts and how things work now with the schedule. I do look it's a big game between these two programs. I mean, both of them starting out on the right foot, trying to figure out who they are. NC State, you squeaked one out. Virginia, you had a pretty nice blowout win. Can NC State get the job done, move to 2-0? I feel like year after year, NC State finds a way, one, to get bowl eligible, but to crank out 7-8 wins. It's a good opportunity for them. I like Pittsburgh over Central Michigan. Syracuse and UConn's pretty good matchup. UConn's had a decent football team. I at least know they took care of business last year against North Carolina in the bowl game. Probably leaning Syracuse there, but TBD. Wake Forest likely starting out 2-0 as they take on Western Carolina. Clemson will take care of business against Troy. I'm not worried about that. Georgia Tech over Gardner-Webb as well. That's an easy one. Cal taking on Texas Southern should be an easy win. I mean, this is a cakewalk week, honestly, for most of these programs. Miami over Bethune-Cookman. North Carolina at Charlotte. University of North Carolina, Charlotte. This is cool in its own way that North Carolina is traveling there as big as they are. You're talking about 14,000, probably 17,000 max with standing room. Tickets are, you can see here, $100 plus in comparison to a lot of games that are $9, $10, $11, $12. It's a big game for North Carolina. I do think they're going to be fine. I'd love to see Max Johnson get the start. We'll see. As I talked about there not being a lot of big games, you do have another SEC opponent for Virginia Tech who just isn't taking it easy in their out-of-conference schedule this year, it looks like. Taking on Virginia Tech. Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech. I don't know what to expect out of this one. I would anticipate Vanderbilt puts up a pretty good fight. And last year, this was a good game at Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech was not able to pull it off. That's a big-time game. And the same thing with Boston College and Michigan State as well. I don't know that much about Michigan State or Boston College this season, but curious to see how that one pans out, that Big Ten ACC matchup. And then BYU and Stanford. Stanford, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to win a game, maybe 2 games this year. I think BYU easily takes care of business there. Last thing we'll go to the AP Top 25 rankings live because that's the way we do it here. Let's pull up the latest AP poll as we close out the episode. Ohio State moved up 2 spots to number 1. Penn State at 2. LSU 3. Georgia 4. Miami 5. Oregon 6. Texas 7. I'll start reading this. Clemson dropped 4 spots to number 8. South Carolina moved up to 10. Illinois up 1 spot to 11th. We talked about it. Florida State making an appearance at 14. SMU at 17. And I believe that rounds it out. Did Georgia Tech get any votes? Yes. Georgia Tech right on the cusp there. Pitt got a few votes. Louisville got some votes. So, not bad. Not bad for the ACC. Potential to get 5 or 6 teams within the top 25 if things stay the course. But anyways, that's going to do it for today and this episode. This is Carolina Dad.